Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Inspired by Miss Amber Red. Today I'm here with Aleks, who's the new girl. And then I got Adrienne, myself, Maddie, Ari, and Candice. Woo-woo. Candice is here visiting, kind of, sort of. We'll get into that a little bit later. But first off, Candice, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Candice Falcon, and I am the owner of Falcon Artistry. And I don't know. I'm like,
what do you do?
What's Falcon?
Yeah, okay, yeah. I need to be
Artistry.
interviewed, apparently. Yeah. I'm like, well, I could just keep talking, but yeah, I specialize mostly in medical tattooing. So, like, I call it kind of like restorative. I do permanent makeup as well, but I really am like niched into paramedical and restorative tattooing, a lot in the transgender community as well. Which we can probably delve into in more detail. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool. And so Candice has some exciting news that the team already knows about, so this is not a surprise. But Candice is going to be joining us.
Ooh.
Yay! So Candice, you're still keeping a space in Vancouver, correct? And then you're just going to be working out of the studio here in Las Vegas as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my main and original location is in Vancouver, Canada, and then now I'm like officially here as well. So yeah, like not too bad of a commute, you know, 2.5 hour flight, and then a lot of my Vancouver clients are like, I'll just come to Vegas. I'm like, well, I'm still in Vancouver too, and they're like, no, I like,
when in Rome, like,
yeah, exactly.
Vegas.
They're like, I'm gonna tell my husband, like, I need to go down to Vegas now, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, a lot of my clients were flying in from the States anyway, so it made sense. And then just Vegas is super fun, and also with the teaching too. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so
we're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Excited to have you.
This girl, you guys, like, you think I work a lot? This girl, like, she makes it look like I don't do shit with my life. I'm like, Candice, how did you do all that in one day?
People are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't sleep. They're like, ha ha. I'm like,
No,
I really
serious.
No,
yeah,
serious.
4 hours. I was saying that, like, you know, glam hack, if your eyes are red, you just, like, put lashes on, and you just don't notice your eyes as much because it's, like, got the shadow over the eye.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Pro tip. Just
big
promoting workaholism over
So
here.
why?
I hate that hustle culture. Like, I hate it. It's like, oh, you really gotta, you know, and I'm not trying to promote that. It's just, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Why Las Vegas?
I just really like it here. I feel like I suit it more. I don't know. I just feel like I embody
what I wear it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I like it here. And then, yeah, I have friends here. And, yeah, it's just a fun place to come to.
If you guys have never seen Candice before, you should go watch the YouTube video for this, because she has, what color would you say your hair is? Yellow and green?
Neon green.
Yeah.
Like a highlighter?
Slime green.
Yeah.
Like very, very pretty, brightest green you could ever see in the whole wide world.
Seriously.
Yellow, green.
It's like highlighter.
Yeah.
Literally.
And then she has a cheetah print shirt, so you already know
Yeah,
she belongs.
giving a bit of Beetlejuice as well, actually. Yeah.
Welcome to the corner.
We're in the Beetlejuice corner over here. Actually, when I was walking kind of near the strip, this guy was like, I was walking with my boyfriend, and this guy was like dressed up as Deadpool. And he was like, oh, the Joker, does that make you Batman? Like, to my boyfriend. And I was like, oh my God, I'm okay with being the Joker. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
like having hair colors that people would assume are ugly. You know, it's like, oh my
I
God,
think it's
green
so
hair,
pretty.
like slime colored.
Yeah.
But I get the most compliments on this one. So
You know, I really like that, like,
like it.
vibrant yellow. It's like,
Yeah,
like
thank you.
very like that Barbie doll yellow. That's like, I don't even know what those pop-up cartoons. You know what I'm talking about? Like comic book cartoons.
80s,
Those like
yeah.
yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like so bright, it's hard to look at. It's like,
It's hard to take your eyes off of it, actually.
That's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, Candice, this is our new apprentice. You're in a room full of like apprentices. Like Maddie just moved here. Actually, Maddie's only been here. What'd you say?
I'm a hybrid. I'm not fully an apprentice.
Yeah. She's like, I'm not an apprentice.
I'm a hybrid. I'm an artist with needing help. I'm an artist in need.
New title? Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. We were like, well, you're not really an
I
apprentice.
know, Amber's like, you're not an apprentice. And I'm like, but I still need you.
So you got apprentice, new apprentice. This is her first day, and then apprentice.
Come from San Francisco.
At your studio, at your studio back Vancouver, are you full, like, do you have a lot of people like this? Are you coming into the studio and you're like, what the hell am I going to do with myself? Or what?
Well, so like Canada or like I guess Vancouver I can kind of speak to more. We don't actually have a lot of regulations. So when artists would come to train, like they'd fly in from the States primarily, and they would look around, they'd be like, there's another shop like right there. And I'm like, yeah, everyone can just open a shop. And then you're supposed to get a business license and insurance and a health inspection, but some people just don't. I would think probably a lot of people don't. So the whole
and they
apprenticeship
don't do anything
thing
about that? Like the way that
there's
license.
nothing they can enforce. Yeah. Okay. So like as far as like apprenticeships go, they're not really a thing because they're not required. But I do trainings, and I do a little bit of fundamentals, but I prefer to stick to advanced. Yeah. So
we were talking about that last night. I was like, girl, she's like, I don't do the new stuff, and I'm like, I love the new stuff.
Yeah. Baby artists.
Yeah, I like baby artists because you don't know shit. You're not questioning me. Just sit there and listen. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
I'm also the same way.
Talk to me.
Right.
Like, let me just mold you, okay? There you go. You're done. You're fixed.
It's confidence building to when somebody is, has the foundations to be like, okay, instead of asking me like, what do you think? Like I asked the question back in my trainings, and actually one of my students was like, I really like the tough love, Candice. And I was like, okay, well the way you're saying it actually sounds like you don't like it. Like you sound upset. But yeah.
Amber, literally.
Yeah, like you have a question, I'll ask it back to you, and then tell me what you think, and then I will go from there. Because if, I don't know, there's this thing where it's like reassurance actually breeds a further need for reassurance. So every time you require reassurance and somebody gives it to you, instead of it building confidence, it actually everyone's getting called out now.
I was like, stop saying that, Candice. I need the reassurance.
Yeah, episode's over. Well, no, I mean, like, obviously you need, like, a certain amount of, like, education first. But when you get to that point where you're like, okay, you can still check, but, like, the answers are within you. I'm also a spiritual guru.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited to have Candice in the studio?
Hell yeah.
I want to get in there. I actually looked into paramedical tattooing because I'm in the medical field. And so actually looking at everything and just seeing kind of what called on me, right? And so for me is the brows. So that's why I'm like, coming across her and just learning everything. And, just seeping it all in.
That's so funny.
I love it. I love the vibe. I love what you're going to be bringing to the studio. And then it's just special. I've always seen it in a textbook.
Yeah.
I'm literal and I'm very, technical, I guess, as my...
They know not to be up your ass. I already told them that your stuff is your stuff and not to be up your ass. But I can't promise they won't be like, Candice, that looks really
all
cool.
this, initial threats.
But I've always seen it just textbook-wise, textbook. So it's beautiful. Wow.
What field are you in?
I'm in, I draw blood. So I draw blood on children. So my technique as far as feeling, knowing what the skin looks like, the depth, the diameter of the needle, and basically hitting it like a target, right? Because if a kid's moving, I have to hit it right on it, right? So, and arterials, I do arterials as well. So, just seeing, and I'm working with, with cancer patients, and so that was the big thing. And I just, looking into just permanent makeup in general and just visiting every specialty. And so I thought that was just beautiful, just knowing that.
I took a 1-day class for $1,000 in Rhode Island before I started my apprenticeship, and it was all paramedical, which was great. I loved it, but I mean the class was horrible, but like
it was a sampler.
The idea behind it was great, but it was just that's where I first started, because when I was looking for my apprenticeship, everyone was kind of hesitant at first. Like nobody was like, hell yeah, I'll take an apprentice. So I was like, oh well, let me, I'll show initiative. Like I want to do this. So I took, and I don't even know how I got approved for this class, but it was, I take the money, whatever.
Yeah, some of them don't.
Yeah, they
look
don't care.
for prerequisites.
I had no prereqs at all. But then when I was looking for my apprenticeship, I was like, oh, I did take this class, like I did, something like this. I did tattoo a grapefruit, an areola on a grapefruit. I did that. It wasn't the best areola, but it was like good enough. But yeah, so then I started my apprenticeship, and I did learn areolas, but I've only learned on paper.
Yeah, and you
Just
showed me your
drawing.
drawings. They were really, really good.
I love paramedical work. I like the scar camouflage. I like dry needling just to break up scar tissue. That is something that I've offered back home in Massachusetts. But now I'm here, so.
I think that like the I won't even get into my opinions on training right now.
Oh yeah, we already.
That's a whole other subject. But as far as like trainings that are fast and cheap, I think there's maybe a place for them to see if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
Like view it as a sampler.
Yeah.
I think that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But as far as like sort of a false confidence that people might get from it, that's what stresses me out, because I think about I guess like just an overview for people that don't know what paramedical entails, or like because I kind of break it into a few categories, just kind of like explaining what it is. It's like paramedical, I don't know, I don't necessarily always use that term, but as far as restorative tattooing, it's kind of for things that were there that you're bringing back with a tattoo. So nipple tattoos after breast cancer, and like there's even sort of a permanent makeup aspect to it as well, where I've had a couple clients that have had like dog bites where like their lip is missing. So I've tattooed that. That is technically a permanent makeup service, but you need to have knowledge of compromised tissue with the hardened, retracted tissue of the scar. And in some of these cases, I'm tattooing what I call like mixed tissue cases, where it's lip tissue, scar tissue, and then the lip skin around it. And like, how does that affect your shape? And when you start tattooing a scar, it's swelling and it's bleeding, and it doesn't retain the color in the same way in like, you have to tattoo it differently, whatever. So it can't really be approached as just like, oh, I'm going to just tattoo this person's lip and help them.
Right.
Even if you know how to tattoo lips.
Oh.
So that's kind of like the restorative side. And then there's kind of like, I call like custom restorative. So it's like missing fingernails, belly buttons. I did a web toe live demo at the SPCP convention last year. And what was funny about that was like, it's kind of like people are like, okay, well, how many web toes am I going to tattoo in my career, right? And I'm like, well, it's not about like, here's how you do a web toe because it's going to be this big service you're adding. It's more about like, how do you approach a case that you maybe haven't dealt with before, and like, how do you observe the body and the surrounding areas to create realism? So I have a background as an artist and a painter, and so that's actually how I've developed my methodology with camo. So I teach camo based off of my own artistic background, as opposed to like teaching what someone else taught, or like a 1, 2, 3 step thing. So it's more just kind of like having the building blocks to be intuitive based off of who's in front of you. And that's why it's advanced, because if you don't know how to tattoo, then you're learning how to tattoo. And I've been in those courses before where they're like, anyone can do this course. And I was like, that's a red flag because like
Wicked.
I'm also in this course and I've been tattooing like at the time for years. And this person's like, I mean, this was like during COVID. So it was like, you know, over Zoom and whatever. But I was like, I just want to kind of get a feel and see what other people are doing. And I don't assume that what I'm doing is always like necessarily the best.
Right.
And there's always things you can learn and keep learning. But yeah, there was somebody that didn't know how to put their machine together. And I felt so bad for them. But then I also was like, okay, well, I want to learn as much as possible too. So I was like, people need to learn how to tattoo first, have that whole, you know, base and building block. And then from there, you can branch out and add.
Specialized trainings. Yeah.
Exactly.
And there's always going to be these little things to think about and remember when you're, especially if it's something brand new. But, yeah. So, yeah, scars, stretch marks, nipples, those are kind of like the main things that people think of.
And
Oh, yeah, and can't believe I forgot.
I'm like, and what? What?
Penises.
Ooh. Wait, what do you
I
do?
really lean in.
What do you do with those?
you guys.
What? What do you do?
Curious.
Hold on, tell me right now. I'm so interested.
So I've been actually driving around Vegas and like visiting with all these surgeons, which we'll get into
hold
more.
on. All right, wait.
Whoa,
Pause. Hold on. Pause. We're cutting it off there. You guys have to tune in next week. We're gonna make them tune in next week before we start talking about penises. I'm sorry. This is a good stopping point. And we are gonna pick right back up here in a second because you've been driving around Vegas and I know what we're about to talk to. And so we're gonna. Oh, sorry. We're gonna film that one too. I'm all excited. I'm like, where am I looking? So we're gonna pause because she also has something else really cool to tell you. This is a major cliffhanger. I apologize, but we're gonna talk about penises and we're gonna talk about her drive around Las Vegas and what she's been doing to get her clientele in Las Vegas built. So stay tuned next week. Sorry, you guys, for that abrupt stop. But that's what we're gonna do.
That was really
So next time. What'd you say? Like, comment, share.
Oh, like, comment, share, subscribe. Candice is gonna put us on to the penises. Let's go.
Yes. So tune in next week. See you
Tune
guys
in.
later.
Bye.